Hi, it's Alaska Granny. I just got back from a shopping trip to Cabela's in Anchorage. I've been concerned about being prepared for more things because a few days ago there was an 8.2 earthquake in Alaska which led to a tsunami warning. It wasn't in my area and it didn't affect me. Lots of times I do have earthquakes here, and I did have a tsunami warning here a few months ago. But this earthquake, thankfully, was not in my area. But it did give me a wake-up call, a jolt, you could say, that I need to make sure that if something happens and I actually cannot stay in my home and I need to leave my home, I want to have some additional supplies in my car. I've also been concerned about forest fires since I live on wooded property, that if I did need to leave my home and maybe the whole area where I live was devastated or under an evacuation, it could be difficult to find a place to stay. What if I had to stay in my car? So I thought I want to make sure that I have more supplies that I can grab and go or keep in my car in case something happens and I'm away from home and can't get home. So I want to put extra supplies in my car so that if I need to shelter in my car for a period of time, I could do it as comfortably as possible. I haven't been to a Cabela's in a very long time simply because a pandemic's been going on and I haven't really been going anywhere. I was shocked when I saw what used to be aisles and aisles of every caliber and type that you could want has been reduced to just a few shelves. There was only the top of this one aisle and the top of this other aisle. Here's some of the prices. They've certainly gone up and things are not available. If these are items that you've been looking for, they're in extremely short supply and the price has gone up dramatically. You can't get all of your supplies the cheapest all the time. Sometimes you just need to pay the price that it is if it's something that you need. That's a good reason to stock up when you find supplies that you want, when it's at a price you can afford, because definitely prices are going up and things are going to be crazy. I have trail cameras set up around my property. It's nice to be able to see things like moose, bear, foxes. I even saw wolverine one time. It's fun to see that, but it also gives me an element of security because I have found some trespassers on there. When I went out to check my cameras, someone had actually removed 2 of the memory cards and actually burned them and destroyed them and inserted them back into my camera. So someone is definitely lurking around and they're up to no good. So the first thing that I did buy at Cabela's was another trail camera. They're not that complicated to set up, but it was nice that I could count on the Cabela's clerk to set it all up for me, get all the batteries in it, show me how to put in the memory card, and make sure that it's up and running, that I can come home and immediately deploy this and try to figure out what's going on. That I have a lot of them, they're all different and it can become confusing, and so it was so nice that I could have someone there just set it up for me and it's ready to go. I'm going to put it out and see if I can figure out what is going on out there and who is messing with my trail cameras and on my property. So that's a little scary. So make sure that you are doing the things you need to keep yourself safe. Trail cameras aren't that expensive. They're around $100 if it's something that you want to find out not only what animals are around, but what's lurking in your neighborhood that could be a threat to you. I bought some extra memory cards to go into the cameras that had been fiddled with because the memory cards in the cameras had actually been damaged purposely and then placed back inside the cameras. So I have some new memory cards to put in those cameras, and then I'm going to redeploy them into a different spot and see if I can figure out what's going on. Nights are getting colder. Hand warmers are a great way to help keep you warm on a cold winter's day, or especially if you're ever stranded somewhere and it gets cold, you need to have a few hand warmers. These do have a shelf life, so they have a date on them. It doesn't mean that they're expired though. The only way they become expired is if they get a pinhole in them and then the air activates the inside and they heat up. So as long as they still feel flexible, your hand warmers should be fine. There's a lot of different ways to use hand warmers. I made a video about it quite a few years ago. I'll put a link to that video in case you're interested in all different ways you can use hand warmers to help make your life a little more comfortable. The hand warmers are going to be a great addition to the emergency kit that I'm putting together that I want to have in my car in case I have to live in it for a few days. The last time I went to Fred Meyer's, I was looking at the Mountain House meals and the backpacking meals because they're a great kind of meal to have in your emergency kit. You only need to add water, and it doesn't even have to be hot water. If you only can add just water, they are going to rehydrate. It just takes longer if the water is not hot. So they're a lightweight, compact way that you can have food that will store in your car. That cans of food might get too hot or too cold, but the Mountain House type dehydrated meals are still going to be okay. They can withstand a lot of the temperature changes that you can't get with other types of foods. But I noticed at Fred Meyer's they had very few of them, and the prices have gone up quite a lot. They are nearly $10 each, and some of them are even more. So I didn't really see any that I wanted to buy, and I thought today when I went to Cabela's, I was definitely going to stock up. They had a huge variety, lots and lots of them, but yes, they are more expensive. You can buy a box or a bucket of them that are less per unit, but they may not be the varieties that you want. I did a review on one of the box kits from Mountain House. I'll put a link to that video, and those are all very good. But I wanted to be able to choose for this kit the choices that I actually wanted. I didn't just want someone else's desire of what I could have. I want what I thought sounded interesting, and I could have a larger variety. When you buy the boxes or the buckets, you might end up with like 2 of each one, which that might be okay, but I wanted to try one of each different kind of what I saw. Mountain House comes in 2 different types of meals. They have adventure packs and pro packs, and the pro packs actually weigh a little less, yet they have more calories in them. And so if you're looking at having additional calories to make sure that you're getting enough food, you might check out the pro pack. If weight doesn't matter, go ahead and get the adventure meals. They're a little bit heavier, so if you're backpacking, it can make a difference, but most of us aren't going out backpacking. We're concerned with emergencies and having the foods that we need. But it's also important to have those things in consideration, the calorie count and the weight, in case you needed to actually bug out or you needed to quickly grab some food and take it from your home. You might want to make sure that it was something that you were able to carry and you could get as much as possible. Cabela's also has meals called Alpine Air, and those are very good too, and they're like $10 and $11. They have a lot of varieties, and so it's interesting to see what they are. You do need to read on the back if you have any kind of food allergies, because they may have ingredients that you care not to eat, and you can find by looking through them that you may find ones that you enjoy more than others and that have the ingredients that you're looking for or avoiding. When you're looking at the Mountain House meals, the orange ones are usually the lunch and dinner, and they'll have yellow on them, which is breakfast, which would be like eggs and biscuits and gravy. So that might help you find a selection that you want. If you're looking for certain things, then you can pay attention to what the colors are on the wrappers. I didn't want any breakfast, I just wanted lunch and dinner, and let me show you the varieties that I got. Mountain House had a pasta primavera, but Alpine Air had pasta primavera with chicken. So it's nice to have a little bit of extra protein, and having meat can really make a difference. Meat is becoming harder to get, more expensive, so getting an emergency meal that includes some meat could be a nice variety. This one is a sweet and sour grilled chicken. I love sweet and sour, so I'm looking forward to that one. Here's one, al pastor with cilantro lime rice. Al pastor is pork, so this will be a nice different variety of different types of flavors. I thought it was interesting the variety that they had, and a lot of them sounded really delicious. Pork pad thai. Have you ever seen that in a meal that's for backpacking or emergencies? Doesn't that sound good? I love pad thai. I'm sure this isn't going to be the best pad thai you've ever had in your life, But it's nice to have a wide variety of emergency meals so that you can make the best of what your situation is by having some variety. I bought 4 Alpine Air and 4 of the Mountain House. And the Mountain House varieties I got, the first one was spaghetti with meat sauce, and this one I bought in the Pro Pack because it actually had more calories than buying it in just the adventure meal. It's the same meal, but there's more calories, which probably means there's more food in it. So if it's the only meals that you're having were some of these, then you need to get the calories to make sure you're getting enough food. If you have other food, this is also a good way that you could split it with someone else if you needed to, but you would need other food to eat to go along with this if you were going to share it to make sure that you both got enough food for a meal. I also picked up the beef stroganoff. It's very good. If you've not tried the Mountain House beef stroganoff, look for that one because it's nice and tasty. I bought the chicken teriyaki, which is also good. And a flavor I'd never seen before is yellow curry. And I was almost tempted not to get it because I'm thinking, what if it like gave me a tummy ache when I was in an emergency? But sometimes we have to be adventuresome and we need to try new things. If you see something you think you might like, buy one, take it home and try it. And if you like it, you can always go back and get more. Even if it's just 50 cents for a can of something or $10 for a backpacking meal, it's important that you know that you're going to like that food and that it's something that you're going to continue to eat. We can all suffer through a meal that's not our favorite once, but you don't want to look in your cabinet and you have 10 of these and that's all that's left and nobody wants to eat it. That would be a waste of your prepper pantry food storage dollars and also a waste of your space where you need to store things that you actually want and need. The Mountain House meals are dated for 2050, so this is going to be so nice to have for the long haul. Yes, things need to be stored the best to make them last the longest, and trying to keep them in the car is probably not ideal because then they're subjected to extra hot, extra cold, changing temperatures. Foods last longest when you store them cool, dark, and dry. But sometimes we have to have things in other places and we make the best of it. So you want to keep your eye on the food and then you need to rotate it a little more frequently. Maybe I'll rotate it in 2040 and if I don't need it till then. That's the downside of the Alpine Air is they're dated 2026. So they don't last nearly as long as the Mountain House food. That's probably why they have more interesting sounding menus and choices because the combinations of foods just don't last. You have to have foods that can all store for the long haul for things to last for a very long time. So when you're choosing your foods, make sure you're looking over not only the ingredients but the dates on the packages so that you're getting the food that can last in the time frame that you want. It was great to go to Cabela's today and to be able to find some of the things that I was looking for. I was glad I could get a nice variety of these 8 meals that are going to go into my new emergency kit that I'm building. It'll give me a wide variety of foods that can last for a long time. I did run into an acquaintance and he was saying he tried the pepper steak and he was so excited when he saw something had steak. But he said when he was out camping and he tried it, it was so tough, it just wasn't enjoyable. So I took that as a warning. I looked through to make sure that wasn't one of the ones I had, and it wasn't. If you've tried some of the Mountain House and the Alpine Air dehydrated meals, let us know in the comments below what your favorites are so we can start looking for that as well. If you enjoyed my video, I hope you'll share it with someone else you think might like it. Please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.